starting five for both teams. First for the Spurs, Parker and Danny Green are your 1 and your 2. And in the middle, out of Brazil, taken with the 28th pick back in 2008, the 6'11" pivot man, Thiago Splitter. Then there's Kawhi Leonard, and it's Duncan in at the 4. And for Miami, Chalmers and D-Wade are the guards. And playing at the 5, the always versatile 6'11" star big man, able to score inside and out, Chris Bosh. Then it's LeBron James, and it's Haslam in at the 4 slot.
And what an amazing run it was for the Spurs last year in the postseason. Swept the Lakers, survived Golden State, and then dismantled Memphis on their way to the NBA Finals. And then, of course, were seconds away from another championship banner.
Well, getting back to the Spurs, they look better and better as they went deeper into the playoffs, Clark. Heat were thought to be the heavy favorites at the start of the NBA postseason. But when they met in the finals, thoughts on who would win, I think, were pretty much split.
Yeah, and eventually, this was one heck of a series because the Spurs not only had experience and talent, but they had multiple options offensively and did such a terrific job sharing the ball. They took the Miami Heat to the limit, but at the end of the day, it came down to LeBron James and Dwayne Wade rising to the challenge.
Parker kicks to Green. Duncan. Shot is off. Right now we're going to go to Doris Burke, who spoke with head coach Eric Spoelstra. What'd you find out, Doris?
I asked him about how his team was going to handle the veterans of the Spurs, and he said there really isn't a whole lot that Duncan and them haven't seen, so you can't surprise them one way or another. Really, it comes down to us being as careful with the ball as they are and being efficient in our possessions. Sounds simple enough, gentlemen.
And as always, Doris, thank you.
Coming off a title last year, you always wonder if the team will maybe relax a little bit. They usually won't admit to it, but Chris Bosh, everyone said it at times that his team had a difficult time lighting that fire again.
Pass to Duncan. Shot no good, and it's Miami the other way. Haslam dishes to Wade. Good ball movement here by Miami. Haslam defended by Splitter, and that basket's going to count, folks. Gets the goaltending call right there.
He almost got to that shot in time, but not quite. You can't touch the ball once it's on the way down.
Green left side. It's stolen by Haslam. And now Chalmers running the floor all by himself.
Oh, I tell you what, nice little run here that they're going on.
Now the story is points in the paint, Clark. I mean, they're getting point-blank shots every time down.
Go back to what Bosh said. I think that is true for every team, Clark, that comes off a championship, but they usually don't admit it like Bosh did.
Well, you know what? Once you've won it all, there is a bit of a relief and a little malaise that may settle over you, but I've always respected Bosh's candor. He's a guy who doesn't bite his tongue, and he articulates what he feels, and I think it's impressive that they fought back to the finals once more because that shows they eventually did recapture that fire.
A shot by Parker. Gets an open look and hits. Parker's got his second basket of the game.
He's hit the ground running here in the first, putting together a nice quarter offensively.
Here's Haslam. No good. Nice D from Duncan. Leonard on the wing. And Norris Cole's going to pick up the foul. That is his first foul of the game. Just over 2.5 minutes played here so far in the first quarter. Duncan, the pass to Splitter. Miami grabs the miss. Haslam with it. He's got 6. Wade kicks to Haslam. LeBron. The dish to Bosh. From about 19 feet. And that one comes up a bit short.
While not as dominant on defense as they were a year before, the Heat still were tough at that end of the court. The thing is, you could see them turn it on and turn it off when they needed to defensively, so they always managed to get the key stop when they needed it.
Shane Battier is checked in for Udonis Haslem. Outside Leonard. Dishes it to Green. And when you're coming off a title like the Heat are, there is, a natural tendency to cruise. But, Clark, you said this, and Steve, I'm sure you want to comment on it. They can turn it up in a hurry.
Well, there's just so much athleticism on this team that if they want to pressure you in the half court, they usually can force turnovers. And if not, they can also sit back and play a more straight-up defensive style and be very effective that way as well.
And the Spurs making a change here. Diaw's checked in. Leonard attacking. And that misses. That would have put him up. The Heat have gotten 5 of 10 shots to drop in this game so far. Right at the 50% mark. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line.
And Kevin, he's really solidified his role as the closer on this team. Miami struggled to figure out whether they'd go to LeBron or Bosh or Wade at first. I think Wade has become the guy.
Well, I tell you what, it's nice to have two guys that are capable of closing, Steve. And I agree with you, though. His aggressiveness and confidence probably give him a slight edge in closing over LeBron. You can play great defense on him, but he still typically finds a way to get the shot he wants. The Spurs have always been very mindful of resting key players during the regular season. Some of it has to do with the age of their players. Some of it is regarding talent because they knew they were a playoff team most years. And you look at the research, there is something to be said for not playing guys when they're fatigued because injuries are more likely if you play tired.
Spurs have gone 4 for 9 from the field to start this game off. To the inside, Bonner. And it's going to be a goaltending call here, so they'll count the bucket.
He got there late, but you do have to like the aggressiveness to go after the block. But that one's going to count.
And you hear the crowd kind of murmuring. I don't think they agreed with the officials on that one.
Steve, I tell you what, they're really letting them have it.
A nice shot by Anderson. And back to the Spurs and their strategy of resting their star players, not without some controversy. The NBA, as you may recall, fined the Spurs and Coach Popovich for sitting all their starting players for a nationally televised game back in November.
Well, it was their 4th game in 5 nights, and Pop wanted to rest some of their guys because of just the nature of their schedule. But I think the problem was he didn't give the league advance warning. In that game against Miami, when he rested those 3 players, he actually sent them home. And I think that was a little shot at the league. And that's why there was a problem, and that's why the Spurs and Popovich ended up getting fined.
The shot by Wade, no good.
What was the defense doing there? I mean, he is not the guy to give an open look to, and yet they got away with it.
Ginobili attacking. And he buries that one, drilling the rim on the way down. The Heat trail by 4. Takes the 3. Battier cannot hit. Here's San Antonio. They're on a 12-4 run right now. Diaw dishes to Ginobili. Battier with the steal. The feed to Cole. With the lead pass. Allen passes to Wade. Lays it up and banks it in.
There it is again. On a lot of their possessions this first half, they've established great position inside.
Yeah, getting the ball into the post should be their first option every time down. Force the defense to adapt and adjust.
Parker kicks to Bonner. Can't hit. Rob. Tipped away. And that'll be San Antonio as it goes out of bounds. Spurs retain possession. 6 seconds left here in the opening quarter. Parker drives in. And a good game so far as we conclude the first quarter. Spurs lead by 2. And back in a moment as we'll get underway with quarter number 2. And off we go, a close game now starting the second quarter. And before we move on, what do you guys think about what we've seen so far from the Spurs?
Well, they've been getting to the foul line here an awful lot. The aggressive play really paying off.
Yeah, and you know what? It also helps to put the mute button on the crowd. I mean, when you methodically score at the line, that can put those fans on their hands.
And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Brick. Doris, over to you.
Guys, last year, Dwayne Wade set a career high for field goal percentage at over 52%. D. Wade said, quote, "Back when I had the team, I was the top player. I had to shoot shots I wasn't comfortable with. I made some, I missed a lot. I have a different role on this team. I don't have the ball all the time, so I need to take shots that come and understand which shots are my shots." Kevin, you gotta love the dedication to efficiency for the team's sake.
That's why he's a champion, Doris. Thanks. Here's Anderson. And the bucket counts, and he's on his way to the free throw line. Try to make it a three-point play.
If you battle for the offensive rebound and come up with it, you're guaranteed a high-quality shot on a follow just like he got there.
Splitters checked in for San Antonio. That one misses for Anderson.
The Heat have magnificent talent, but even coming off an NBA title, they had never put their name into the conversation of the great teams until last spring when they went on that amazing 27-game winning streak.
Here's Bosch. Makes it off the glass. And the Heat lead by 2.
And guys, they continue to put a lot of pressure on the interior defenders with the way they work down low.
Well, it's become one of the stories of the first half, Clark, just piling up points in the paint.
Ginobili dishes to Diaw. And Bellinelli kicks to Splitter. They get a hand on it. To the middle. That's good from Battier on the assist by Chalmers. Now it's a 4-point Heat lead. And for the Heat, they were staring right at the 72 Lakers win record, and I'm sure everyone remembers, but ultimately they would fall, Steve, to the Bulls after 27 consecutive wins.
Yeah, that streak to me was one of the great feats in NBA history. Winning 27 games in a row in the regular season, so difficult, but it showed you what the Heat were made of. They really were battling every night, and I thought that put them on a great run heading into the playoffs.
Here's Haslam. The shot is off. Duncan with some nice D. Leonard, the pass to Parker. Puts the lead pass in front of him. And he banks in the layup. Parker's got 6.
I'll tell you what, the defenders didn't even get a sniff of him on that move to the hoop. Well, you know, Tim Duncan really is a coach on the floor, guys. He knows every play in their playbook, front to back, and position 1 through 5. I think he could coach the team if he had to.
You got to like his shot selection today. He set a good example for the rest of his teammates.
Oh, and a fast break for the Heat. Haslam, that's good. Haslam's got 4 points now in the quarter. And a chance to catch up on some numbers here. The hustle stats for the Heat.
Boy, they've really amped up the pressure at the defensive end, guys, and have piled up the steals in the early going.
And the other thing they're doing is forcing a lot of turnovers, and that's helping them to get easy points at the other end.
And for Duncan and the Spurs team, that continuity and veteran leadership, such a huge part of their success.
Well, when you have the same coach and the same core of star players over almost 2 decades, that's pretty remarkable. That continuity is exactly what gives the Spurs that sustained success that they've enjoyed for such a long period.
Splitter dishes to Parker. Passes it to Duncan. And fouled hard that time. He'll get to the line and shoot 2. It's on Chris Bosh.
I tell you, Tim Duncan turned back the clock last season, didn't he? One of his best in years, and one of his best seasons ever when it comes to blocking shots. For a guy who doesn't get a whole lot of elevation, it's his timing that allows him to be a shot blocker without bouncing real high.
You know, back to Duncan, Steve, you could make a credible argument that with the exception of Larry Bird, no player in NBA